Jacked Up Radio, 93.1 FM.
And now joining us on the show is a very special guest, and that of TD Barnes, who is featured in the National Geographic special Area 51 Declassified that airs this Sunday, May the 22nd, and who once operated at the infamous Groom Lake facility. Good to have you with us today, sir. How are you?
Thank you. It's my pleasure.
Well, if you don't mind, I'd like to start off by hearing how exactly you got your start at Area 51 really quickly, and how long you worked there.
I had become quite advanced into radar, and particularly Soviet radar and missiles and this sort of thing, and they recruited me for the area. I had been working on the X-15 program with the hypersonic speed, the early days of space, and they brought me out to the area to work on the Oxcart, which was the predecessor to the SR-71. It was a CIA project, and we developed a plane that still holds all the records and probably will never be beat, but it fly over 2,000 miles an hour at 90,000 feet and take a photograph that you could almost read a newspaper by.
Well, now that is amazing, and I understand you also had a helping hand in sort of reverse engineering the first acquired Russian MiG plane. Is that correct?
Yeah, that was one of our big projects. We had a 9-to-1 kill ratio against us in Vietnam, and they didn't know why. So we got our hands on a MiG-21, a couple MiG-17s, and tore them apart, did a technical evaluation of them, and then we did a tactical where we actually flew them in the air against American planes to see, and pilots to see what was so special about them. And basically what we learned is simply our pilots didn't know how to fight them. It wasn't the planes, and out of this came Red Flag and Top Gun that continues today with the Air Force and the Navy.
I see. Now, here's one thing I'm wondering. I understand, of course, you worked on the MiG plane, but is there anything else you worked on that maybe was at least of an unknown origin to you, or did you ever hear or see of anything that would seem strange to even someone working at Area 51?
Not really. We were our big feature was stealth. We were just getting into the stealth technology, and in fact, the CIA's A-12 plane was the first stealth plane that we built, and then we moved from that to the HAB Blue, which was we had two prototypes, and then and later on into the F-117. But nothing really, really exotic like has been attributed to the area.
I see. Now, I don't know if you're at liberty to discuss or answer this or not, but I don't get the chance to ask Area 51 insiders a lot of questions, so do you know if Bob Lazar was actually an employee at Area 51 at any time?
No, he was a flake. His timing, nothing was real about him, and I think that's pretty well been established over the period of time, and he's dropped out of the limelight on that. He finally gave up on it.
Well, now, you're also the president of the Roadrunners now. Can you quickly tell me and others who might be unfamiliar with that association what it's about?
Now, the Roadrunners is the men that worked out there, and that includes the CIA, the Air Force, and then all your contractors, your camera people, you name it. And what we did, we were so top secret that we banded together, and for 40 years we've been getting together as a family and having reunions, even though we couldn't, even among ourselves, talk about everything. 'Cause a lot of it is still classified even among ourselves. So, but it's a group and the CIA declassified our names a little over 2 years ago. We could finally tell our wives where we was working and what we was doing back in the 60s.
Oh, wow. Well, now, before we wrap it up, what else can you tell us about the special that's going to air Sunday on National Geographic and your involvement in it?
Yeah, this will be very educational to people, and that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to get our stories out now while we can. We're all getting up in age, and there's nothing written down in the history books, and even with the historians at CIA and the Air Force, and all of them are desperately working with us to get these stories out, and that's the reason National Geographic went with it. It's just helping us get the story out. But in the documentary will be one of the CIA pilots, myself, some of the security people. It's kind of a cross-section of the people that's out there.
All right, and that's TD Barnes, a former operator at Groom Lake Facility, a.k.a. Area 51, and president of the Roadrunners, who again will be featured on the National Geographic Special Area 51 Declassified this Sunday at 10 p.m., and thank you for being with us.
Thank you very much.
Jacked Up Radio 93.1 FM.